this way that if you ever been to a construction site and you know, or you're building, right? There's what we call the sketchy plan or the master plan, right? Or your architect book or whatever book it's been called. So when you have that plan or house plan, the house plan tells you, oh, how the building is going to look like. But in the process of that your plan, right, there might be some itches or some things you technically will not like. You might tell them, oh, take up this particular angle, take up that particular angle. Why are you doing that? Because you want a perfect, might not be entirely perfect. You want a very structure, a very good structure with probably zero error, right? So when we're talking about constructive criticism or how to handle constructive criticism in the workplace, as an employee or even in your personal life, you cannot shy away from this, from people criticizing you. Even the one who made the heaven and earth was criticized and is still being criticized. All right. So we just want to look at ways where how we can handle it, right? Not putting emotion into it and not taking it personal. So I would like to start with a scripture, right? Apologies that for some of my for some of the others that are non-Christian, but it will just drive home the point. All right. So please, the next slide, please. So now this is scripture. So it's in Proverbs 15:31 to 32, and it reads that if you listen to constructive criticism, you will be at home among the wise. If you reject discipline, you will only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you will grow in understanding. This alone speaks volume, right? So criticism in itself might be bad, might be negative, yes. We tell me negative. But sometimes, do you know that sometimes you actually need critics? Yes, to criticize our work, to criticize what we do, even our personality. If somebody tells you, "Oh, guy, see," I'm always afraid of people who gives me all the flowers all the time. Yeah, because it's like limiting me. That, oh yeah, she really said I'm doing fine. But what in the real sense, there are other things they need to call my attention to it. They will not call my attention to it. I like people who criticize my work who say, "Oh, sorry, guy, can I can I take a look at it with another different pair of eyes?" And when looking at it, okay, guy, you didn't do this thing very well. This should have been this should have been this. I'm gonna put in a lot of work into it, a lot of energy, sleepless night, and somebody will come and say, "Oh, uh, well, it's not too good." So how do you handle such situation? Do you take it to heart? Do you take it as if do you fight? Do you even go and fight over it, or you even cry over it, or you even allow your emotion to get into your way? There are some people's job, we call it critics. I think most of these people you see them in the US. Their job is to criticize people's job. They will look at a movie, sit down with the movie, and critique the movie and tell you that this movie is this, and their rating is 2%. Right? Do you think somebody? So when such report goes out, people feel, oh no, why would the person spend billions of money, to make this movie, and then you are coming to rate the movie 2%? No, 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 no. You are not being human, blah blah. But that's just the way it is, right? That's just the way it is. They are not coming from a place of sentiment, right? They've looked at it and they've given their value. So if you worked in a very structured environment where we have compliance and audit coming after you, even as a HR person, do you hate a compliance person or an auditor as an HR? Do we? No, we don't hate them. But anytime they come, they say, "Oh, we want to audit HR." We have this defensive kind of attitude. I do that sometimes, right? Maybe after auditing, I say, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have. But don't forget as well, that they are like critics. They will write their recommendation, give their opinion or whatever evaluation, and then they expect you to improve on the next audit. All right. So criticism, we can't do away with, whether in our personal lives or in our professional lives. People will criticize you. When they criticize you, it's just to show that yes, there are things you are doing pretty much better, or there are things you need to improve on. Do not, I repeat, do not be in the carcass of people who give you fake praises and say, oh, yes, thumbs up, take accolades, take flowers. No, sometimes you need 60% of people who will criticize you and 40% of people who will praise you. Because the people who are criticizing you want a better version of yourself. While the people who are just giving you the fake praises and all that are saying that this is the limit the person can be. It can't go beyond that. Right? So try and avoid these people at all cost. So let's go on, please. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. So this picture alone speaks. No, let's look at that picture. So this picture alone speaks volume, right? If you look at this picture critically, right, you could see that one is already well wired, well tailored, right, well aligned, and then is giving a feedback to another. So the feedback might look on very sketchy. You might not want to understand what the person is saying, even after giving your best. You know, mostly maybe appraisals or something. You are putting your best, and you won't make sure that you come out with a grade A. But by the time during the appraisal section, your line manager will say, "Oh, sorry, well, you haven't done some things pretty well. Like take for instance this one, and at the end of the day, you want to relate with it. A lot of things, it's actually going around in your head. I say, what kind of manager is this? It's not this thing, or somebody is giving another opinion, another feedback about your. That's why we encourage balance scorecard I think in our organization, so that other people will look at it with another fresh pair of eyes and say, oh, okay, these are the things you don't do well. These are the things you do well. All right. Because even your line manager, don't also forget, he also need to he also needs to be giving feedback. Then me myself, basically, there are things I call feedback and feed forward. So what's the difference between these two? Right? Feedback talks about your past, what you are meant to do, the KPIs you are meant to tick or meet. While the feedback forward talks about what I want you to do, even as a manager, right? Or what the business or what the departmental KPI wants or what your manager wants you to do. That's straightforward. So yes, I really don't dwell too much on your part, but it's needed for record purposes. But then I do what I call feed forward after the appraisal. I'll tell you, oh, these are the things you need to look at, and these are the things you also need to work. You need to work on. So next slide. Next slide, because I think I have a couple of things to say. So next slide. So let's just go to the definition of terms. All right. So that we better understand why we are using constructive and criticism together. Right. So don't forget that technically there are no, yes, on paper there are no negative feedbacks. Feedback is feedback. You might now decide to say this is negative. You might decide this is positive. Because what you call negative feedback, others have taken it and has been an improvement mechanism to them. Right? I've once had a boss who told me, "You can never know payroll. You can never know payroll." I was like, I said it in Yoruba. Is this man? Is this placing me? Is it causing me or what? And I was like, then I made up my mind. That alone, I made up my mind that whatever it takes, I'm going to know payroll. I'm going to learn it, right? Because that triggered something in me, and I sat down and I learned payroll, right? I could as well take that feedback. Yes, it's negative, right? Yes, in tone, it's negative, but I don't look at that tone. I look at beneath the tone, and I improved on it. So when we're talking about criticism, what is it? So it's a form of feedback, one that focuses on delivering a critique and negative feedback constructively. See the word constructively. But so this word constructively is not all managers that are actually managers. Don't let us forget. I worked in a place where the manager, in fact, a senior manager was almost behaving like a baby. And at every feedback, the manager will be crying. Senior manager, he will be crying. So sometimes in the when we're giving such feedback, sometimes I want to laugh. That how can a senior manager be crying? You know, because of so sometimes I will engage myself. Why are you crying? Look at how you people. Look at how you people. I say, wow, that's what? And you're a manager. I'm not saying managers don't cry, but not in that panel, not in front of your subordinate. He was weeping like a baby. Not that he committed a fraud. We're just having a chat and giving that feedback. So, but the feedback that as a manager wants to give, it must one mix with empathy and respect. Right? But I understand some managers don't care, right? They will tell you that's how I know how to pass the message, right? They don't care. They will just pass the message. They don't want to care about your emotion, right? So constructively and possibly to improve performance or behavior. So constructive feedback actually is an improvement or a major critical feedback mechanism for potential growth. Some people will take it, some people will not grow. Like I told you earlier that oh, somebody said I can't learn Peru. I can never know Peru. But it's a feedback. But I took that feedback and I ran with it. It corrected my behavior because I was running away from Peru. I was like, Peru. If I go and pay somebody that's on 100,000, 1 million, so because I have that phobia, right? But somebody said something that triggered something in me, and I said, oh, no, I need to improve on it. So don't let us forget, constructive feedback constructive criticism is actually a feedback mechanism, right? So, and it's also actionable. It should be clear, beneficiary to the recipient. I'll show you a diagram what I meant by that. It's not just to pass negative comment. Then also, as a business manager or as HR leaders, it is important that when you are giving constructive feedback, right, you also need to look at the body language of your people. Don't say because you are seated high up there, then you can talk anyhow, right? Or you give the feedback across the hall. For some of us that have this wide open space, and then you are giving feedback across the hall, across the office. It's not professional enough, right? It's not professional enough, or something that was discussed in house, maybe on a round table, and then you are coming to the general office and say, "Oh, we've told him that if he's not, and then you don't know what you're doing to your subordinate emotion. All right. So again, constructive feedback is a process of offering valid and well-reasoned opinions. Feedback offering a process, right, involving positive and involving negative, right, comments, but in a friendly and a professional manner to others. So here we are saying that it's a process. When you have feedback, in fact, it's often said that most line managers don't give feedback, right? In my office, I have about three people reporting to me. I give feedback. In fact, I still gave one of my team member feedback today and say, oh, we need to talk on something something something. Said these are the areas that I want an improvement. I know you are trying on this area, but I think we should do it this. Oh, and she said, oh yes, I equally have that concern too. And I told her, okay, you know what, going forward, let's do it this way and this way. What do you think? Right, right. So because it's a two-way thing. Oh, and she said, oh, okay, because you might have a better idea than the idea I'm actually presenting on the table. Do you understand? So if you can hear me, please, can I see your hand up? Can I see your emoji? So let me know that people are hearing me. Maybe a thumbs up or something. I know you guys are hearing me. Sorry, can I see your emojis or something or that so that I would know that you guys are okay. Okay, thank you, Adoyo. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let me go on. Thank you, Susan. So So it's a workplace, right? So when you are looking at feedback constructively, pass the message as a leader. I know some leaders will they would blackmail you using your emotion, right? But there are also other ways to actually handle that part of the process. Right? There are other better ways to actually handle that part of the process. Right? As a manager, as a leader, when giving feedback, I like a very um, private place, a very private place where I can talk and then we can share thoughts. Not not giving feedback at the car park where everybody's passing and then you're raising your voice and then a lot of things could happen at that point. Or giving feedback during lunch when if you have a lunchroom where everybody's there, that could cause emotional damage, right, to the employee, right? And that employee might not even improve because it's not all of us that have that can-do spirit. Some people immediately you jump with their spirit. I tell you, you can't get the best of them, even if they are the best performer. Immediately you say something is not constructively, presented. They began to think as if this is toxic, right? So let's take a look. So next slide. Next slide. Let's quickly look at next slide, and we'll move on. So looking at this diagram, right? Like I said earlier on, the constructive feedback is actually a very is a two-way thing. It's a two-way feedback mechanism, right? The other is giving, the other is receiving, is processing it. You're receiving probably from your line manager, from whoever, or from your coach, from your mentor, right? And then you're processing it. I'll give you a case in point. Uh, uh, mentors even don't have all the answers. Mentors don't have all the answers, right? Or your coach, whatever, they don't have all the answers. So there was a time I wanted to, I know it, but I, I, I wanted to check. It's not like you know something, but you're not sure if it's actually the right thing, right? Sometimes HR too, we get in some of this. So I reached out to a mentor and I said, this, and he said, you know this thing? I said, yes, but the way I'm thinking it in my head is not the way it plays out in the real life. And he said, oh no, it's the same thing, right? And we could discuss it. And he said, okay, what are your phobias? What are your fears? And I said, this. You know what he told me? He said, forget about that and do the right thing. Oh, I was thinking he would criticize me because of the tone. I was thinking he would say, no, 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 no. He said, no, no, forget, do the right thing. Do this, and and that's exactly what I did. And that's how the thing also play. So when you are constructively criticizing somebody, one, there are three things you're doing. One, you are one, you need to discuss first. You discuss, right? Remember that these people are not your children. So your team member, you discuss. So when you discuss, you'll be able to get feedback, even as a manager. Don't just assume you know all the answers. I used to tell them there is, yes, by hierarchy, yes, but there is no manager here. When we discuss from the discussion, I can pick one or two solutions. Right. So when we discuss in a round table, then we can now reflect on some of the action points, some of the things, some of the issues that we have discussed. What are the what are the blockers for some of this thing? Why can't you perform on this thing? Why can't you perform on that one? Why can't you perform on that one? Oh, you will say, okay, yes, this. Then after that, when I said, okay, you know what? Um, you know what? Because of this, I'm going to place you on a PIP, a performance improvement plan, so that at least I can watch over you for like a month. I can give you my time, like maybe 1 hour a day, to see that you actually improve on some of these things. Give you another example. There's a salesperson in my former place of work, and before I joined, I learned she's not been performing. So I was like, okay, she's not been performing. So how did you know she's not been performing? Is there any metrics to? And they said, "No, she's not been performing. It's obvious she's not been performing because She's not been meeting her target. She's not okay. I said, have you engaged her? Yeah, why will I be? So the manager said, why do I need to engage? I don't need to engage anybody. The company said, go and bring 5 naira. Go and bring 5 naira. Oh, so I said, okay. So I know where the problem is. So I engaged the lady and said, oh, what's the issue? And then she told me, okay, good night. And then she told me, oh, this are the issues. And I said, oh, okay. So I told the lady, I said, okay, can we draw up a plan? Let's draw up a plan. And we draw up a plan and I told her that, okay, at every 3 days, I check in with me, right? And let's see what the issues are. I mean, what the progress, just like a progress report. I tell you, this particular leader has not been performing, suddenly became was leading the chart in the sales on the sales team, and the manager said no. Maybe somebody just favored us. She can no, because the manager initially had recommended to HR to terminate, and I said so when I in those process I joined, and then did you know that this lady was there and was breaking the record back to back. So what was the issue, right? Feedback that was negatively given, and then the lady took it personal and took had added emotion to it, and that also break her down. So she's not seeing that she can actually succeed on the job. So alarm manager said you cannot succeed, so you cannot succeed. So DRI, you discuss first, you reflect what was discussed, then you implement. All right, don't just assume that you know it. No. You know it because at the point of giving the feedback, your reaction, your it's normal. You almost want to fight it, given that you have put more effort, spend a lot of time on the project, and somebody is coming to say this is rubbish, right? So I understand that part. I totally understand that part. So, but when you are, giving this feedback, discuss, reflect, and implement. Next slide. I think I need to run ahead. Next slide. So what are the importance of consulting feedback? So they are I just listed it. There are a lot of importance, right? One, it's a growth opportunity for you, and not something about growth. Growth is not an easy process. If anybody tells you that growth is an easy process, the person has not grown. Growth is not an easy process. In fact, in your growing, you need to die to yourself, right? There's some environment you get to, you forget everything you have learned and begin to learn afresh. I've been in that environment before. I thought I know this one. By the time I got into that environment, I I shared everything I have learned, I have known, and then I began to learn afresh. So growth is one is bad is a constant thing if you want to develop yourself. Even the man that is your mentor is still growing, right? So that's one of the movement. Then when cross creativity also nurture collaborativeness, right? What do I mean by this? So when you when you check the feedback, when you look at it, right? The outcome of you looking at it critically, right, will bring about success. Just like the example of the lady I told you about. It will be able to collaborate together on on our weaknesses, and then we'll be able to come out with success. In fact, the other part I didn't tell you about the lady was because if you meet your target back to back, right, the company will give you a certain, I think $1,000 back then, $1,000 for meeting your target back to back. All right, then it will also enhance performance when you take feedback critically. It helps you to identify which area do I need to improve. Don't just believe that you are well grounded. Don't forget, a champion in your area is a lazy man in another area. So when you get into the workplace or in a new job or you are dealing with a new manager, right, and he's giving you this feedback, look and say, "Ah, but my former manager is not seeing what is bad. He's not seeing." No, looked at it is because he's seeing you with a fresh eye. He's seeing your job with a fresh eye. He's coming with a new mindset. I know some people will overdo it, especially the baby boomers. If a baby must wants to, so rigid, they want everything, like that. I understand. So, but when you activate or you sweep the feedback and you take what the meat there, I tell you, and you look at the area of improvement, you will definitely improve. All right. So let's move to the next slide. That's just so I can think. So understanding criticism. So there are two critical things here. For what purpose? Definition. What is the purpose of you to understand? And then the differences. So they often say that, um, and then let me say here, constructive criticism is not the same as cancel culture. Constructive criticism is not being toxic, like our Gen Z will normally say. It's not being toxic. No, or it's not being rude, right? It's not being rude. If I give you an assignment and I say okay, solve this equation 1 plus 1, and you put 3, right? You put 3, but I expect that you should put 2. And I call and say, can you cross check your answer again? And I look at the answer, the answer is correct. It's 3. 1 plus 1 is 3. Some manager might get offended, right? But some will say, come, I don't know how you come about 3, but the answer is 2. And you tend to explain, discuss, and then you can say, oh, yes, 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 you are right, you are right, you are right. But immediately the manager begin to, point out your weaknesses. The Nigerian in you or the blood in you will tend to defend it. I said, sorry, sir, sorry, sir, sorry, sir. I went to Bells University, private university. Why? No, no, no. You went to Unilag. Sir, my parents spend money on me. I know what I'm doing. Oh. And then that alone can also create conflict if it's not properly taken. Otherwise, let's move on. Let's slide, please. Let's slide. So, what are the ways? In fact, in my preparation of this, I have 13 ways, but I just um, you know, shut it down. Maybe I can just run through that, but let me just run through. So, when number one thing that you need to know when you are being criticized by your critics, number one thing is stay cool and stay calm. Stay calm and then think. Stay calm. Be calm. Never react immediately. Don't say, what do you mean? I have been in this company for 15 years. You know, you were still in secondary school when I became this thing. But because of, faith, now because you are my manager. In fact, when you came, I was the one who onboarded you. Stay calm and think first and look at what the person before reacting. Don't let your emotion, don't let your emotion get in the way, right? Don't let your emotion get in the way. So number two, so here I call it KYW, right? KYW. Know your words. Embrace your words. Hmm? Embrace your words. Don't allow any criticism to define you because that's not who you are. Don't allow the criticism to define you, right? However, instead, concentrate on your strength. You have been criticized, there's no problem. But look at your strengths. Remember that scripture we read when we were starting that he who receive criticism will be among the wise, right? Look at it, right? Number three, see the benefits. So here we're saying that see the benefits of somebody criticizing you or anything. Don't see the other way. Hmm? Recognize how constructive criticism can improve your skills. In fact, there's some things, and then broaden your perception because there's some things that you don't even know that you can do. But when somebody opens your eyes to it, you know, be say, "Oh, really? So I can do this? Oh, really?" But nobody actually points to your direction to it. That's why we in my interview process. So this is what I do in my interview process. I sit in the first interview with the hiring manager. right? After sitting in the interview, or maybe oftentimes, so sometimes I will allow my hiring manager to interview. So when they give me feedback, I look at the feedback and say, okay, can I meet the candidate? But you know that when I meet the candidate, what they consider as a strength, I consider it as a weakness for the candidate. Why? Different person of high, right? In fact, there was a candidate, it was well experienced, but his CVs were not properly tailored. So I called his attention to it. Do you know that this guy was grateful to me all through the interview? At interval, he would thank me. At interval, he would thank me. Because by the time I said, no, okay, this is your CV, this is your, you know. So, and that's what, and I know that at the experience level he is, you can never forget that, right? So number four, thank your critics, express gratitude. I know it is difficult. Oh, will I thank somebody that rubbish my work? Uh, no, even if you don't agree with what they say, right? Thank them. They have given their constructive input. There's nothing you can do about it. It's for you to thank them, right? When I was doing my, I think one of my, is it MBA or MSc? There was a supervisor who he would ask me to write a project. I was writing my project. I wrote chapter one. The guy will cancel it, and he will write for me. Look at he will tell me to go and make corrections on. So I will go again, rewrite, and send it to him. Do you know that he will also cancel his own write up? So he got the point. I was sick. I said, what? One day I told me, I said, sir, professor, what what do you actually want from me? You need to communicate to me so that people know. And he now said, okay, I want it this way, I want it this way. I said, okay. I said, okay. I said I wanted to do it that way, but I felt that you might not like it. But with this feedback, I will go back and I will do it. The man said, okay. And that's what I did. Immediately I submitted the first. He said, oh, this is good. This is what I wanted. This is good. So thank your critics, right? Thank them. Then number five, seek clarity. Don't just assume that they should know. No, seek clarity. Do you know that even where I sit, I don't mind going to my HR intern to say, oh, sorry, oh, I need clarity on this. This. I will say, oh, this. Seek clarity. No matter who is criticizing your job, seek clarity. Understand it. Don't listen. Don't respond to the tone of the criticism, but the message the critics is trying to pass. Don't respond to that thing. I know our emotion want to jump and respond. Say, what the hell are you? No. The critic might be passing a valid point, but then it might be passing it with an harsh tone. Forget about the noise. Focus, focus on the message. Number six, stay open to learning. Don't assume you know. Even if you know, keep quiet and let another person open your fresh eyes to things and tell you another better ways to do it. Don't just assume that, oh, this is the best way. There might be 1 million way to do it, and that your own way might be an old way. Still open to learning. Okay, how do you want me to do it? I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example. So I was trying to do something on Teams, and then the way our email works is you can you can sorry, hold on. Where's Wumi? She's she has gone. She's calling. All right, I think I'll turn her back. Oh, sorry, guys. So the way our email works is you don't need to go to Teams to book a meeting, right? You can actually do that on using your email without going to Teams or without going to Google. The way it's been. Then then I lost my way. I lost my way, and I called one of my. I said, sorry, how do you used to do this thing? Now look at it. The way I used to do it, I thought that that's the best way. And she said, "Oh, let me show you." About she showed me. Do you know that all the CVs I was thinking, me that I would go and pick up somewhere and attach one by one, she attached it almost immediately with, the way it was done. I was like, "Oh." I said, "Can you do that again?" And she did. Oh, I said, "Thank you. I've learned a new thing." Because the way me I would do it, I would go there, start picking, start looking at picking, all that. No, no, but she doesn't do that. She just click on it, and then everything will auto solve in one piece. So stay learning. Don't just assume you know, even as a manager, right? Then also filter out fake criticism. When someone is criticizing you, ignore the incorrect criticism and take the correct criticism. Because during criticism, some people will want to hype it. They want to make it sweet so that you look bad, right? Don't then uh, ask question when needed. Don't assume that Shabi is the manager, you should know. No, managers are also learning. Don't assume your manager knows it all, or don't assume he knows. Your manager can tell you. I don't know. Some of us that are managing people, at times some of us, somebody will come to our office and say, "Oh, sir, this. How will I do this? And the manager will say, "Okay, do this and this," and the employees will leave. But do you know that immediately they get to their seat, they are confused. But they are so scared to come back to you to say, "Sir, what you told me the other time, I don't understand. Can you repeat?" Right? So let them come. You tell them, "Do you understand?" Yes. If you don't understand, I can explain. All right. So um, then also note that let me add this thing. Always value criticism. Positive criticism are like building blocks, just like I said, to improve and to develop in your work. Right? They are like building block for improvement. Always value criticism. When you do your job, give it to somebody to look at it and let them critique your job. Don't just assume it's perfect. I don't know if any of our managers do this too. At times, I will want to send out email, and I feel that the emails, the write-ups are not correct, right? And I'll call one of my team members and say, "Please, can you read this email?" And the person will say, "Okay, ah, there's an error here. We should have put is." I said, "Okay, okay, continue reading, continue reading." Say, "Okay, you should have put this. You should have put a." Oh, continue reading. But me, I've read it 3 times, 4 times. Because I'm the initiator, so I didn't see any typo there. But when another fresh eyes looks at it, he sees those errors. Let's move on. Let's move on. Another the next slide. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. What are the benefits of effective handling? So how do you handle this one? Like I said earlier on, it's you grow personally and professionally. So when you don't look at the noise is just to make you get to the noise will make you to get the noise will actually make you to get emotional. But it's the message, it is the voice in that noise that you should take. See fit. Don't just take the whole thing. Take the useful information and run with it. So personal development or personal growth or professional growth is also important. Then it also improve one of the benefits is also improved communication. Yes, it improves communication, it strengthens your own relationship. That's why you see some managers will say there's a performer on my team. If I tell him, "Oh, Jide, we are going," he understands what I'm saying. Do you think that relationship was built on the first day? No, they might have had issue before the guy say, "Oh, this is how the manager wants to work. This is how he wants to work." Then it also build another benefit is a stronger team bonding or teamwork. Yes, you better understand. Okay, this is how this is an improvement mechanism, right? This is an improvement. Don't assume your leaders know, right? Because sometimes some leaders will go to board and throw you under the trailer and say, okay, let me give you a typical example. One day, I was in my house. I was on a weekend. I was about to sleep. Then I got an email from the HR email. I know who could send it, right? So, and there was a lot of typo error in that email. My MD CEO saw it and chatted me up. And in fact, she blasted me and said, I don't understand. What kind of an error is it? The person who sent the email did not consult me that he wants to send the email. But obviously, it's an email we send almost every time. So I looked, I said, what email? So I quickly jump up on my bed. This was around 10 p.m. I quickly jump on my bed, jump off bed, open my laptop. I already saw it on my phone. Open my laptop and say, oh. So apparently the guy sent, maybe he was sleeping and I don't know. So, and I responded to because my boss actually sent me a very worded, unpleasant email. So I stood up. I first addressed our email, right? And I took responsibility for the guy's error. I took responsibility. Was I the one that sent it? No. Did I ask him to send it? No. Did he consult me to send it? No. Did he ask me to proofread after drafting the email? No. I took the bullets and I said I she should hold me responsible. But however, I will correct the email immediately so that it can go out and he can recall the other ones, right? So do you know that the staff in question, this thing I'm talking to you, I just told him, I said, please, I know you don't make this kind of mistake, but next time, please, run it by me, or let me take a look at it. And that built the guy a kind of a bond. Say, wow. So he was thinking maybe I'll say, oh no, because I can as well make that mistake, right? So let's move on. Next slide, please. I think this is almost second to the last slide, so that we're on. Challenges in handling. There are a lot of challenges in handling. Number one, you need to deal with the emotional reactions. So when you're handling, most managers or most employees don't look at their employees' reaction when they are talking to them. Yes, your employee might have violated certain policies, but when you want to address it, one, look at the environment. One, look at body language. Two, three, look at the environment and their reaction. Right? Look at their reaction. Don't just assume that, well, yes, you are violated, probably I can talk to you anyway. No. All right. So you have to deal with emotion, then self-awareness, right? You have to deal with self. So let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Next slide, please. So what are the strategies for effective handling? How will you handle things? So before now, listening is not part of one of the leadership skills, right? Until it was added by um, um, uh, I've forgotten one of these leaders, one of these thought leaders, that listening is one of the critical critical leadership tool that the leader must have. If a leader cannot listen, cannot lead, because you must listen and listen and listen. A leader is not a talker, somebody that talk. Is a listener. You must listen actively first. So if you are being criticized, one of the skills you need is listening. Listening, not reaction, not defensive, not picking a fight. Don't say, don't pass through motion. No. You listen, listen with your inner ears, right? So that you'll be able to take the feedback genuinely, not that the person hates you, or not that the person wants your job. Some people say, you want my job. So you want my job. No, mixing it up. Listen first. Seek clarity is another one. Seek clarity, right? And set realistic goals. So here, I talked about feed forward. Now, yes, your line manager has given you the feedback. How do you make sure that you now have to go back and then say, okay, My line manager says that my recruitment, my turnaround time is is this. How can I set goals to make sure that my turnaround time is on point? Okay, time to fill. You look at it critically and you assess yourself. I tell you, your line manager is watching. He might not he might not give feedback when you are improving, so that it doesn't get to your head, right? So critically look at it and take feedback. Next slide. Let me round up with this. Think, yeah. Okay, so in conclusions, so let's conclude. So what are the takeaway? What are the takeaways? So number one is remember to value constructive criticism as an opportunity to grow. If you see somebody who has been on a job and it tells us this is the way they do it, and the day you introduce change and this person is fighting it, I can tell you this person has not grown. Has not grown. Mostly you find these people, I call them legacy staff. They know the history of all the MDs that have come and go. All right, they know all the history. They know all the history. So so remember, remember that you want to go. Then another one is implement strategy, the one that works for you on how you do it. Implement strategy and do some, foster a positive feedback culture. Have this feedback culture that whatever, no matter the feedback, no matter how terrible the feedback is, I will assess it. I will take a look at it. Then I will evaluate the feedback, and I will take the one that speaks to it, even if the person has painted it. You know, unravel it and look at it critically. Right? Ignores the noise, ignore the incorrect criticism, take the correct criticism, and then run with it. That's how you can handle constructive criticism. Don't just assume somebody does not like you, right? Don't assume it, right? Don't assume that. Yes, it might be, but don't assume. Let your work speak for you. Let your work speak for you, regardless of what you have given. Look at it, dissect it. If you want to cry, so I used to say this. If you want to cry, yes, go to your crying room, cry, come out and be an improved version of yourself. All right. Don't be like that my former employee who is the senior manager who cries when you are giving him feedback. As in real tears, he'll be crying and his body will be vibrating. So sometimes, when I see such I wanted to laugh. I say, can an over 40 years old man crying like a baby? So how do you handle issues at home, feedback at home? All right. So guys, so I would like to stop here, right? I'd like to stop here to take questions, contributions. So let's share thoughts together. Uh, Thank you. Okay, Odwai, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Let us kindly drop our favorite emoji and thank Olawale Oladimiji for this wonderful session. Please, if you have questions, kindly drop it in the chat box. We'll be going on a
I think we have a question in the chat box. So one person is asking, how do we handle hateful criticism? So kindly help us address this, please.
Okay, so how do you handle hateful criticism?
Yes.
Like I said, right. Um, every critics, well, every critics will not criticize in place of emotion. They might say something that hurts you, but you look at it from another point of view. Okay, for example, if somebody said or says that you are not good enough, right? You're not good enough, and somebody say you're not good enough. Do you go home and start crying? They said I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. No, you take that. Oh, thank you. You just showed me an area I need to improve on, right? Oh, you just showed me an area I need to improve on, and you begin to improve on that. Okay, I give an example. When one of my line managers said, I can never not fail," and the way I can still remember vividly his expression. He was so angry and he said it with anger that I can never know people. It's been over 10 years, yeah, since he said that word, but I still remember it today. But did I stay there? No. I looked beyond the words and I picked up myself. I said, oh, payroll is an area I need to improve on. So these are actually a very sensitive thing. I look at it beyond that words and I begin to improve on it. I think that's what you should do, right? Yes, it might get to you emotionally, right? But don't let it affect you. It's an improvement process. And don't forget, I said something about growth, right? Growth will come with tears. Growth comes with tears. It comes with pain, right? It comes with pain. It comes with a lot of things. But at the end of the day, it brings out the new you. It brings out a renewed you. It brings out a well developed and a refined you. So that's what you should look at. Don't take it too hard that somebody hates you, because they will give you that feedback, back to back, and then it's for you to actually look at it critically and then assess it. Do you want to improve, or you still want to be on the same spot? Right? Being on the same spot is dangerous. So you need to improve. If somebody tells me today and say, you're not good in this, oh, so thank you. Thank you. I've been looking for somebody who will assess me. People said, oh, yeah, you have covered everything. It means I'm not growing. And if somebody now say, oh, you're not good in this, oh, okay, thank you. It's an area I need to improve on. And I will improve on it. So that's just the thing. Don't take it to heart. Don't take it emotional. Don't take it personal. It might get to you rest, but off off that emotion and look at it critically and begin to build yourself. Begin to build yourself. Begin to build yourself. You know. So I think most of the people that have become great, they didn't just become great because some people told them nice things. You don't become great because somebody tells you nice things, right? Some of them became great because somebody said some harsh thing to them. I think they said about the first prime minister, sorry, the first America of I think America, one of the first America of USA or US, that he said it can never amount to anything. We thought you became the president or something, right? I can't remember the full story. And he became the president. And the teacher who told him that he can never amount to anything watched him on TV. So look at it that way. I didn't mean he said he can never become anything and now decide to go and hide himself. He will definitely not. So it is you that will say this negative one will not come to pass. You must use the negative ones as a building block for improvements. So that's just the thing. I believe I've been able to do justice to your question.
Thank you so very much for that response. For
Thank
me,
you.
I think you did a very very good justice to the question, because I think I understand quite where you're going to from the answer. Thank you so much. And then we have one more question here.
Okay.
The person said, thank you for this section. How best is it to handle a frequent situation where the boss is always impatient and criticize your work, even when you know it wasn't as bad as he said? Later, after
Mm,
discovering he was wrong, he fails to talk about it.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So oftentimes we have line managers often caught in this web. They never intended to say sorry, or they don't see themselves saying sorry, right? So I think the first thing to do is to understand the person. Hmm? Understand his person, because you know he's your manager, so you can't. So understand his person, understand his personality. Some of us know our manager too well. They say, no, you will not like it. So understand his person, understand how he loves to work, right? Understand how he loves to work. Okay, even if he doesn't say sorry, a time will come, you get used to it, because he's also assessing you. He's assessing you. Okay, okay. If I leave this job, can this person be my successor? Okay, so understand the person, right? Because sometimes, then it all also depend on your person. Sometimes, so that I don't get emotionally drained, right? But understand why, how he loves to do his work. So when I was in one of my company, one company I left like that, I came up with a strategy and said, any employees I want to join will write like just a one page on how do you love to work. Tell me how you love to work. So from there, I can better understand you. And a lot of people loved it. I said, oh, yeah, this is how I love to work. This is how I love to, oh, okay. So, and I will read it. So it forms part of my HR document. All right. Because I'll be the first person to have contact. So let him know how he wants to work. What are the things he's impatient about? Is it about reports, right? Or is it about your work? So you need to pinpoint those things that he always gets angry or always impatient about. And then you also try to correct. Right? There's some managers they have zero, zero appetite for rubbish. Zero. Right? They are perfectionists. So just understand them, learn how they way they want to work, and then you also you can improve on some of your deliverables, right? I know you can't please anybody, right? And don't expect anybody. Don't expect anybody to also please you. Mm-mm. You can't please everybody. Take his criticism or whatever, look at it and say, "Oh, I'm wrong." And sometimes don't even expect sorry to say sorry because some managers are so rigid. They will never say sorry, but there are ways they will say it and say, "Okay, uh, let's go for lunch." He's indirectly saying sorry, but he might not come out and say sorry. Me as a manager, I say sorry to any of my somebody if I know that this information I didn't get it correctly. I tell them sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think I was misinformed, right? So I think that's just because one day you also be a manager, so you'll be a manager. So just learn to then. Sometimes, lastly, you also need to study his happy moment or happy moment. Maybe it's his birthday, he's always happy. You just say, boss, boss, something, you did something, I don't like it. Because it's in that joy state, he won't mind to say sorry and say, you still remember, okay, sorry, I'm just, just to make you, but definitely, you know, so because it's his weak moment, he's so happy. Anything you bring to him, he's willing to commit. So I think that's one of the things you need to, all right. So I think I hope I've been able to do justice to that. You cannot have a perfect manager. In fact, there's no perfect manager in any organization, right? So you can't have a perfect manager. Know that, and then you can't please everybody. This is not HR is not an ice cream selling organization. If you want to please everybody, probably become a pastor, right? Because there are some employees there's some managers that will come with some unimaginable things, right? That want to get you out of your. So learn to manage people. This is, as HR professional, we are in the business of managing people. And I used to say this that even the God who created the heaven and earth said he regretted creating man. And we will now call ourselves HR, we want to manage people. How can we manage somebody? How can we manage people that God said, I regretted creating them? So you could see. So we need a lot of is it patience now and empathy and respect before we can manage this, right? So please, I think I've been able to answer that. All right.
Yes, so very well. Thank you very much for your time and for taking your time to just do justice to all of our questions and also the topics. We want to say a very big thank you to